Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark, and we're back here for the afternoon call. So this market, in my opinion, is incredibly resilient. It keeps, as much as, the S&Ps can sell off in a day or two, we're obviously hanging at the top third of our trading range, really tight ranges on the S&Ps, really on the other indices, pretty much the same thing. IWM's, Russell, lagging a little bit, but we have lots of stocks making new highs, lots of stocks getting short squeezed, lots of new plays and new companies that really have come on the billboard that we have not played in a long time, or quite frankly, they just recently IPO'd. We've never played them, and they're now going to be on the radar probably continuously, hopefully. So let's get to that and see what's going on. This morning we had Twitter, had some news, not pay to play. I guess if you post something, you can buy it, post to buy, whatever they were calling it. Either way, technically, it looks really good. It might do a back and fill, but most likely, I think, 55 to 59 is back in the cards for this stock. And, you're looking at this part of resistance, 59, that it could grind higher in a shorter term, in my opinion. And based on what I'm seeing, not a whole lot of resistance. Facebook, same type of play, at highs. Just reading, it was actually over the $200 billion market cap, so we'll have to wait and see if that has any sort of pullback. But based on the chart, it looks like it's actually ready for an extension. That's what I'm starting to see a lot of. My gut tells me either it's going to be a blow off top, but we're revving up to go higher based on what I'm seeing on the charts and based on what I'm seeing on stocks across the board. Google, since we mentioned a high beta, Google L, which is what I play, over that 600 level. Probably makes a move, before earnings, a nice little run, but we'll have to wait and see. Google's only something you play on a day-to-day, not every single day, but it's something that obviously has to be on the radar. Tesla recovered pretty nicely from its 10-day moving average that, it dipped below a little bit on Friday. And at this point, probably a few more days of consolidation, looks to be heading to the $300 level in the near term, as long as the market holds up. But based on what I'm seeing, it's hanging in there. I don't think there's a trade in there for another day or two, though, for us. Netflix, same type of trade, top third of its trading range. We're getting to a trend. If you haven't noticed it, guys, lots of things look good that we're talking about. We're talking about it either on the VTF, mentioned it on Twitter, and obviously at this call. And this is where the money's going, and you can just see it, and you can see it pretty much in droves. So then you have some of these newbies that we've mentioned here and there, but obviously on the last few weeks, even towards the end of the summer break, they have gotten on everybody's radar. G-Pro, this stock, at this point, it's a little extended for my blood. I need to see a little more digestion, but it's either going parabolic, it went parabolic, one of the two. Either way, it's going higher, and it's gone higher. I would probably wait for some digestion for it to, base a little bit, but either way, it looks pretty good. Mobley, another one, looks very good, and the same type of play. It seems like 60's in the cards, but at some point you need to digest the move, and it's getting a little ahead of itself, and that's really what I'm looking at. Then you had some other stocks today, if I can remember them, because I feel like I truly feel like there's so many of these things. DSKY had a nice quick move right off the bat. Triggered at like 22.50, went to 26, closed at 23.66. To me, still looks very good and something that probably should be on the radar and something that should be watched. Loco, another random new issue, competing with possibly Chipotle. Not ready for prime time yet, but keep it on the radar. Above 38, holds above 38, looks pretty good to me in that front. LinkedIn, not a whole lot to trade. I was long it this morning. Still looks good, but again, I think it's going to be a stair-step higher necessarily than, blow off, and we're just going to, getting ready to go, guns blazing. We'll have to wait and see. Yelp's resting. Somebody asked me, am I done with Yelp? No, but at the same time, I have some options. When they aren't in play, I don't really like to sit in them if I don't need to, especially when I have other things that I'm watching that deserve my attention a little bit more, and so I'm obviously looking at that. But I think 83.50 hovers around there. You're going to get a new high at some point in time, meaning above the 86, 87 level, back to $90. ACT, not something we talk about very often. Closed very well, closed at highs. I took a little bit. I think it probably begins to extend at some point in time. Not the easiest one to trade, but certainly something on the radar for us to watch. Yahoo with the Alibaba IPO coming and getting priced. Yeah, I believe it's the 18th. So that's running into that. That possibly is going to be a short as it gets, the day Alibaba actually goes public. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, they have a lot of cash to play with. Yahoo. We'll have to wait and see what they do across the board. Oil stocks not in play. Home builders really not in play. A lot of the semiconductors and the SMH, they look great. I don't know if you've looked at them recently. I don't really trade them on a consistent basis because they're a little bit inconsistent for me. But Broadcom looks good. What was I looking at? Not AMCC. Clack looks good. AMAT looks decent. So look at your semis. A lot of them look pretty good. And obviously today you had a new high in Intel and a new high in Microsoft. So you have some big boys catching up and looking good. Across the board, guys, we look good. You got to figure out where you want to be. You got to do your work at night and, go from there. Now, on the short side, some things that have gotten hit that really, quite frankly, have not found a bid yet, Z, which I still consider a leader. So possibly down to the 126 level, that's when I'll look to step in there, or at least begin to get a little bit more involved. Price I might have tried to bottom a little bit here. We'll have to wait and see. Chart is still ugly, so I'm for the most part avoiding it. I know somebody mentioned the Biotech index. So the Biotech ETF IBB, it bounced nicely the other day off key moving average, and now has regained some composure, maybe basing for a few days. Jazz the other day had a good move on some buyout chatter, but it had some follow through. GWPH has been on a lot of people's radar. It could be ready to go very shortly, guys. So certainly keep it. You got to understand how a lot of these stocks trade. Not always easy, but understand some of these stocks trade a little while, but if you get the characteristics of it, you can actually take advantage of it pretty smoothly and pretty cleanly. And that's where we're at. I still see the lagging on the IWMs, but I think that could play catch up maybe the next day or two. Then you have some Under Armours of the world, Nikes of the world look good, Fossil of the world look good, possibly regarding some wearables with Intel, some sort of collaboration. So there's enough stocks for us to trade. Summer's over. You got to put your thinking cap on. You got to put your work hat on, and you really got to go to work. You got to do your chart work at night, and you got to respect the fact that this market is telling you something. It seems to be going higher. As much as we get these little pull-ins and everybody gets so nervous midday, and they do happen, and it does affect P&Ls, and it does affect your mood a little bit. But the reality is, at the end of the day, we close fine. So, not that the world is a great place at this point in time, but we have some ceasefires. That are sticking for the time being in different parts of the world, and that's the only thing, in my opinion, that can sort of probably take us off the rails a little bit. But again, I think it's sort of temporary. At least right now, they seem to be on a definitive pattern. I think Yellen speaks. I don't know if it's next week, but I don't believe she speaks this week. So we'll have to wait and see. So there's not a whole lot of news for us. There's not a whole lot of earnings. So now it's just a matter of following a few different stocks, a few different ideas for us to take advantage of. Hope you're in a VTF, and hope you're capitalizing on some of the ideas that we're throwing at you, because it's been since after, even before Labor Day, but since after Labor Day, it's been a decent little run, and you hopefully can capitalize. Enjoy your night, and I'll see you back tomorrow.